Welcome to the first ever inaugural Future of Marketing event. Very excited to have you all here. It's the first time we're doing this. And really the impetus of this event is that we think that we are in the middle, the beginning of one of the biggest sea changes that is going to completely remake the marketing profession. And we just need to have more discourse about all the things that are changing, what that's going to mean for all of the things that we do every day, what that's going to mean for all these companies that are going to be created. And so we really wanted to make this a forum, and a very interactive one at that, to have all of those conversations. And one of the coolest things about this event is that it's really been born out of a friendship. So I'm Camille Ricketts. I'm a partner at XYZ Venture Capital. And the reason that we were so excited about this is because, as a former marketing leader myself, we really think that the new generation of marketing companies are going to be seismic companies. And we're so excited to meet the people who are working at them, about to build them, all of that. So keep XYZ in mind. And then I'm very excited to be partnering with Mada Saghetti and with Ethan Smith from Graphite. Mada's the founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO of Upside, which is a forensic attribution and insights tool to help companies drive more revenue. Graphite, as many of you in this room know, is helping brands capitalize on SEO and now the new future of AEO in order to build their presence out there in the market. And we've just been friends for a very long time. And so when we thought this topic was going to be top of mind for many people, we were like, let's do this together. So thank you for being here. And a few housekeeping items. First, if you haven't been able to get on the Wi-Fi, it's around on all these QR codes that are here at the bar. Bathrooms are back here in this direction. And of course, I'd like to welcome the actually multiple hundreds of people who are joining us on a live stream. So also, know that you are all on a live stream right now. That is something that I was reminded to share. And now, in the interest of bringing in some of the voices that are really, truly like at the doorstep of remaking this industry, we are going to move into some lightning talks to give you a sense of our agenda. We're going to start by hearing from a lot of the folks who are building this transformative technology. We're going to move into a CMO panel of truly marquee folks who are seeing this from a certain altitude and able to share exactly what they see coming and what's been important to them. And then we're going to have some really vibrant roundtables around some of the topics that I think are the thorniest, interesting challenges that we're all sort of facing. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first lightning talk. And this is somebody who I have the good fortune of working with as an investor. Her name is Bolbi Liu, and she is the founder and CEO of Adsgency, which is a company that is absolutely digitizing the performance marketing profession end to end. So welcome, Bolbi Liu from Adsgency.
Hello. Wow, it was quicker than I thought. Oh, can I have the clicker? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm glad that 2 glasses of champagne helped. Awesome. Cool. So my name is Bolbi Liu. I'm the founder and CEO at Adsgency AI. It's super inspiring to see all these marketing leaders in the same room to discuss the future of marketing. I was just reporting to you probably one of your office not too long ago. So now glad to feature our product. So so start off with my story at DD Global and AWS. We had over 100 plus of marketing team that I had a pleasure to work with, from regional marketers to designers to data scientists to machine learning engineers. We all worked from different countries and divisions, but one thing we do share in common is that we all hated how the advertising process was. So it was overly complicated, super expensive, and literally burning cash. I still remember we used to have to spend over $1 million on apps flyer when I was at Didi, just for the mobile attribution. So hopefully Upside can help us solve the problem. But we had like internal communication that looks like this, right? From designer to briefing to decision makers, and then back to the data and etc. And some ad tech toolkits that look like this. I'm pretty sure you guys can find a few familiar faces on that. That's why I built the one-stop ad platform there. We were able to drive, 200 million plus of incremental revenue at DD, and I did the same thing at AWS, which drove over 500 million there. And that's when I realized this was universal because there was no single source of truth. But if it were just that simple, I wouldn't quit my job to try to start a company. All right. So what is the difference between that product I built over there versus the one we have now? Because in the age of LLM, it's no longer a rule-based engine, right? Like it used to be rule-based. Whenever there's new data sources, there's always new onboarded engineers or whatsoever to do the analytics, to all of the data cleaning, labeling, etc. And we can never really act on those insights. It's just tons of dashboards, and the decision still has to be manually done by the marketing team. So, sorry, I thought I did. So imagine now you have some tech stacks like this. We break down each single one of the steps you need to run your performance advertisement into a proprietary agentic orchestration. So what does that mean? You will have a 24/7 running Google search agent. You will have a 24/7 running Facebook creative analysis, agent, and that gathering all of the insights for you and then turning them into knowledge graph and generate the recommendation on top of that. And then, so we can free up all the time for the CMOs instead of doing all the executions, analytics, managing tons of tools, just to the storytelling and making the customer connections. And it's not really just, in the age of AI, right, it should feel less of manually managing the campaigns, but more of an always-on system so you can run thousands of micro experiments at all time. And it's not just really a vision, it's actually working. So we were able to see an average 3x to 8x of improvement from our clients, including companies like them. Hyper-growth startups or enterprises. But please know, this is not a sales pitch. I'm not trying to sell to anyone. I'm just sharing this because I've noticed that there's operating systems that can run in your finance and accounting, that can run your software development, that can run your legal process. But why are all the marketers are still manually deploying their ads like this? So if you guys don't have that just yet, I'm just saying, you might want to start looking into that, because in the age of AI, the CMOs are going to start trying to demand a omni-channel-based agentic operating system that can connect all the dots between media, budget, spending, the customer segmentations, insights, etc., so that we will have something like Salesforce, but with more power of AI. So thank you.
Amazing. So we're going to move from digital advertising and placing digital ads to social media. And as the former marketing leader at Notion, I can attest that that was the big marketing channel for us and got to see intimately how that is changing, but also the impact it can possibly make. And one of the founders who I think is harnessing this best is Megan Duong, who's the founder and CEO of Plot. And I'm excited to introduce her to talk about how she's been building massive enterprise value with organic social. So welcome Megan Duong to the stage.
Coordination. Hello. Yes, I need to press a button. What is the button here? Okay. Hi, I'm Megan. I am the co-founder and CEO of Plot. To quickly summarize what Plot does, we are an AI video social listening platform where we analyze social video data. So if someone's talking about your brand, holding your product, we pull in that information without any tagging required. We can also run research on the next product. So if you want to find, I don't know, Korean skincare with Gen Alphas, we can zoom in and run research on video data. Press this button. Okay, so I don't know shit about demand gen. So I launched my product 15 months ago, and the only thing I do know is community and social. So I ran brand and social at Apple. I decided to leave after 4 years and run a social media agency. And that was a really terrible idea because we just serviced B2B social for B2B brands. And that was really hard, but I learned so much, and that's all I know. So if you ask me about demand gen, won't know anything. If you ask me about social, that's what I know. And so we grew to multi-million figures in 15 months, and it was all inbound. So again, I don't know anything about like demand gen. If you ask me like growth hacks, I don't know. So what I'm gonna do here is say the top 10 things that I learned on social and how you can apply it for your brand. All right. Oh, that's my product. I just quickly created these slides, but this is an example of what our platform does. So we do vision detection, where we can analyze who's using your product. We can identify your super fans, so we can see one person has talked about Starbucks 3 times, and then we run reporting and insights on your products or your brands. All right, so by enterprise, we mean these enterprise. So I've grown really quickly. Our first customer was L'Oreal, and then we scaled up to several enterprise brands. So people are often confused as to what I've done or who did I sell, what blood did I give? Truly, it was through social media marketing. So let's kind of dive into it. So the first thing we learned when we launched 15 minutes ago is that nobody on enterprise specifically responds to email. And there's a few reasons why, the first being is that we learned that enterprise has really strong spam filters. So oftentimes, if you reach out and you're an unknown email, you are going straight to spam because there's so many phishing hacks at this point. So no matter what emails we had, no one was seeing it. I think we've done everything about like improving deliverability, all that. So what I did was what I was great at, which is social. The next thing here is, we've pivoted about twice until we found social listening to be our thing. And the core of what Plot does truly is how can we solve for operations and allow us to bring back creativity to our work. I think as a social media marketer and a brand marketer, I spent so much time on tools that I truly was like, how do I bring creativity back to my work? Secondly, I think social media is probably one of the most misunderstood rules, particularly in B2B and sometimes in like D2C. And so we have this like mission where it's like, how can we make more noise for social media marketers? How can we actually bridge this new this new area where like the social media marketers can be the next CMOs? And so many people rallied on that, and we use social as a way to basically complain about social media marketing and how nobody understands us. And so you can see a lot of our engagement happens through just like building a community of why we feel just like really underserved as a market in general. The third thing is oftentimes when you think about a social media marketer, people make the mistake of hiring one person to do all the channels. One person does the TikTok, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, but each platform has their own specialty, right? So someone who I hire on TikTok doesn't know the game on LinkedIn. So when I decided to make the bet, I actually found like experts in their field and obviously with distribution, and that actually contributed to a lot of our inbound. So I have Christina, who's our head of marketing, who is a like LinkedIn influencer for social media marketers, and she brought in a lot of her inbound, whereas on TikTok, Mila, it has a really big community on social media marketers, and she ran our social. So you always want to think about platform specialists because there is a different specialty, especially when it comes to like video editing. TikTok is very unhinged, Instagram is more aesthetic, LinkedIn is obviously professional, Twitter is like tech bros. So that's kind of how you think about it. What did I say here? Okay, so the way that we design our platform and how we kind of build some level of viral loop is that we build features that people want to post on social. So a lot of our platform is very much like, look at your success, look how much like comments you had, look at like the EMV, the engagement, and they are so proud of their work, and before they weren't able to actually access this data. So people feel proud to show like these features and actually post on social, and that became another viral mechanism that we had to feed it back to the product. So Tyler, who's one of our customers, is the director of social media at Empire State Building. He's constantly, and I don't pay him to do this. Okay, cool, almost that time. All right. The fifth thing here is stroking someone's ego. So if you just tag other people, people are gonna repost, and that's another thing that people can do. 6, design events that generate UGC. So if you can see, we actually crafted a lot of events, but we actually created this newsletter that allowed people to know who's in the room, and that allowed them to connect. Engage with your ICP in the comments. So think of like the top influencers in your space, especially on LinkedIn. Comment, other people in their space will actually see your comment. So we are chronically in the comments. If you ever see Plot, that's probably me or my head of marketing. No, there's not the last thing. There's 2 more. Sorry, guys. 8, tap into cultural moments. So connect them with your product. There's a lot of things, especially on TikTok, that happens culturally. So we always try to tie it back to our platform by running reports on like the summer I met the summer turned pretty, or like the Sephora sale. So leveraging your product into this cultural moment. And memes go a long way still. So we brought a lot of our leads through memes. So that's important. And the last thing I just want to emphasize that is so important that we've done that makes our sales so easy. We show our product on LinkedIn. I think so many people gate the product through, making them click through a demand gen profile, a form, and then maybe they'll like see the product maybe 3 calls in. Just show the product. Like if you have magic, show the product. I have been so shocked with how many people who come as our lead and we sell so quickly because like I actually know what your product looks like. I just want to know if you're like bullshitting me. So that is. Go on social. That's the wrap up. So thank you.
Awesome. So now we are going to switch to one of our co-hosts for the evening. This is Ethan Smith, who I think who here knows Ethan Smith already? Yeah, this is a person who knows a lot of people. He, and has for a very long time. We've known each other for years. And he is going to talk about the future of search and how we're all going to have to learn how to optimize for AEO. Thank you so much, Ethan.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Okay, so I'm Ethan. I guess I know maybe half of you, but I'm the CEO of Graphite. We do SEO, we do answer engine optimization, content marketing, companies like Masterclass, Webflow, Snowflake, and I'm going to talk about AEO. And usually I talk about how SEO and AEO are similar, but I'm actually going to focus on the differences. So quickly, AI is growing. That's why we have this conference. AI traffic and LLM traffic is growing a lot as well. Also conversions. So ChatGPT launched in 2022, but we didn't see a lot of conversions and impact from LLMs, and now we're starting to. So this is Webflow's signups going from 0 to 8% in 1 year in the last year from LLMs. So actual impact and conversions is growing a lot. And LLMs frequently start with a search. So if you search for best website builder, you'll see it usually, not all the time, but usually saying searching the web, getting a set of citations, summarizing the citations. And so search and LLMs are very related, and that's why SEO and AEO have a lot of overlap. Also, you're seeing LLM AI chat have clickable stuff. So Google used to just be 10 blue links, and then it added maps and shopping and knowledge graph and things like that. Same thing with LLMs. So LLMs used to be only text, and now they're starting to introduce things like maps and all the stuff that Google had before. So it's converging. But I'm going to talk about how it's different. So it's different in 2 different ways, and it's different with the head and the tail. And so the way that I think about mid is if you just do SEO, you'll get the mid for free, but the head and the tail are different for answer engine optimization. And so if you want to win best website builder for Webflow, if you rank #1 in Google, that's a win. If you rank #1 in the citations for LLMs, that's not a win. You need to be mentioned many times. And so if you look at the top cited domains in LLMs, it's stuff like Wikipedia, Reddit, affiliates, social UGC is huge, like YouTube and Vimeo and things like that. So for Webflow to win, the popular questions, you have to be mentioned by other people. It's not enough for just a page on your site to rank. And so there's very different strategies for each of these. So how do you optimize for Reddit has nothing to do with optimizing for search. So how you optimize with Reddit, I was talking with Annie where somebody said, well, I'm going to create a bunch of automated Reddit spam and do AI generated text and then create hundreds of fake Reddit accounts and then like each other's comments and create karma and then say, you should really consider Webflow as your website builder on a bunch of threads. That does not work very well, fortunately. What works well is just using Reddit like an actual person. So make an account, say who you are, and say that you work at Webflow, and then give a useful piece of information. And that works really well. And it's sort of counterintuitive for the growth mindset, which is it has to be non-standard, unconventional, and scale to hundreds, but it actually doesn't have to do that. So Reddit's a very different strategy than traditional SEO, probably a different person, and so that's one big area. Second is YouTube and other video sites. And so one interesting thing with videos made for entertaining things like travel and food and beauty. Most people don't spend their time watching videos about attribution models on the weekends except for Mata and me. But videos are part of answers. And so it's actually green field for video, or like B2B and AI, API, payroll management, like all this stuff that is not entertaining. There's not that many videos, and so it's greenfield. And so if you make videos for that stuff, you might be the only video, and so you can win that way. Third thing, okay, so let's talk about on-site. So the tail is larger. Chat is made for conversations. So Google, if you're searching for something like website builder, you search for it, you get an answer, then you're done. Whereas chat is specifically made to work for all these follow-up questions. Like, so what's the best payroll management software with this feature, with this integration, with this language, with this region? And so this is stuff with no search volume, but it has question volume. And so you don't necessarily need to make millions of different pages, but you want to figure out what are all these different follow-up questions in the tail and create pages for that. So this is Rippling, where these are all the features or use cases that I have for IT. This is an integration page. Yes, which payroll management software integrates with Pave? We do. Here's a page about that. Probably not something you do for search, something you would do for answer engine optimization. Here's another example. So help center optimization, not something that an SEO person would do, but very interesting for chat because it answers all the questions about what does your product do, like do you integrate with Zoom? So these are the differences and things that are special about AEO.
Yeah, that is a big one that we at XYZ in particular are very, very excited to sort of track and learn what the future is going to be like. So always excited to have conversations about that. And then for our last lightning talk, I'm excited to welcome Alex Bauer from Upside, another one of our co-hosts. And he is going to be talking about the data model that is needed and that Upside is, I know, spending a lot of time and muscle sort of building out in their own world. That's going to be needed for really precise attribution, something that people generally have not thought was possible before now. So thank you, Alex.
All right, that's a tough act to follow. Actually, a story about Ethan. I don't know if he remembers this, but since everyone here apparently knows Ethan, I met him for the first time about 10 years ago at some event in Toronto. I think we were like hosting a roundtable or something, and he was just consistently dropping these banger answers to every single question we were being asked. And afterwards, I think we were at the bar, and I said, Ethan, how are you doing this? And he said, well, before the event, I sit in my room, and I think about every single question I could possibly be asked, and I answer it ahead of time. And that had a big influence on me. I've been doing it ever since, but probably just not as effectively as Ethan. Anyway, I am aware that I am the last coveted slot before the people you actually came here to hear. So let's get on with this. Let's start. Anyone want to give me a definition of the word attribution? Just out of interest, is there somebody who would like to give that a try? All right, here in the front row, you get 2 sentences. Go.
Who gets the credit?
Darn, she was really good. I thought it was going to be a laugh line. Yes, that is basically the case. And the differences between attribution in a B2C versus a B2B context, they're actually kind of important. So I'm curious, in the room here, who's mostly B2C? Oh, you are a few rare breed. Okay, so if I ask you to raise your hand if you're in B2B, that should be pretty much everyone else in the room. Okay, awesome. If you are in B2C, one of your primary concerns for the last couple years has probably been signal loss, basically #thanks Apple, and you are probably thinking back to the great old days of about 6 or 7 years ago with nostalgia. They're not coming back, I'm afraid. But if you're in B2B, your challenges are somewhat different, and that is because there has never been a golden age of B2B attribution. And the question is, why not? So let's do another poll. Raise your hand if you think your team has really clean data. Okay, that's exactly 0 hands. B2B is really complicated. And I probably don't even need to go through all the ways that a journey like this gets screwed up in the data, because that would be preaching to the choir. Every single one of you knows that you're in B2B, except those like 3 people who had B2C backgrounds. And the issue is this just never works. So the problem with every B2B attribution platform that has ever existed is that they trust the data sources too much. So let me explain what that means. If you put garbage data into your model, you're going to get garbage insights back out the other end. But there is something that actually does work, and the state of the art is moving so quickly that this wasn't possible even a year ago. You have to fix the data first. And we're not talking about, a little bit of cleaning up. We're talking about something that resembles much more like major reconstructive surgery. Because, unlike B2C, in B2B, the signal's usually still there. It's just buried. It might be in one of those meeting transcripts, or in one of those email threads, or one of those fossilized Salesforce campaigns from like 6 years ago. But the data is there. It's just unstructured. So if you can find a way at scale to process that unstructured data and recover the signal, then you have a story about what happened. And once you have a story about what happened, then you can figure out what actually worked. And if you figure out what worked, then you can go for the holy grail, which is, please tell me what I should do next. So the only thing that's been missing in this pyramid so far is a way to process all that unstructured data at scale. And this is a room full of savvy people, so I'm guessing you can probably guess where that's going next. But AI is infinite interns. When you have AI, you can suddenly do processing at scale. You can go through every single one of those buried touch points, and you can extract them. And then suddenly, you don't have to trust the data sources anymore. They are no longer a source of truth. They are just a source of signal. So there are a couple important things to note here. Number one, ChatGPT and Claude, they are getting better all the time. But if you just tell ChatGPT that you want to know what worked on that deal, you are going to be sad. Some of these deals have over 10,000 touch points, and ChatGPT and Claude, they just don't have the capacity to handle that, and maybe never will if you don't do some pre-structuring on the data first. The other thing to know is cleaner data here doesn't look like a little bit cleaner Salesforce. It actually looks a lot more like the kind of graph you might find behind Google search. It's a different format, so it's not just making Salesforce better. And the second thing to know is once you have this cleaner data set, there are a lot of things that you can do that aren't just attribution. You can start asking questions like, when did IT first get involved? Or which competitor beat us in the end? Or what was the customer sentiment during the implementation process? So I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. All models are wrong. Some of them are useful anyway. And I think with this kind of forensic data model, we're finally on the verge as an industry of data that actually might be useful for B2B attribution. So if that sounds interesting to you, we have a live demo station outside. Find me during one of the breaks. Otherwise, thank you very much.
All right. So those were our lightning talks. Very excited to hear from people who are inventing the future actively today. Just another acknowledgement of the sponsors of today. You've heard a lot from me at XYZ, Ethan at Graphite, Mata and Alex at Upside. Come find us during the breaks and during the reception. We'd love to tell you more. And then also wanted to tip my hat to the folks at SQL who are bringing us our live stream today. And I wanted to welcome Amanda to the stage to tell us a little bit about SQL.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Amanda Bagley. I'm with SEO AEO, and what a privilege to be here at the Battery with you all. Thank you to Graphite, XYZ, and Upside for bringing this group together, and thank you for being a part of the future of marketing. The landscape of modern marketing is shifting fast with AI. Everyone's doing all their product research with the LLM of their choice. And as marketers, if we ever have the chance to bring our audience to our own website, we have to seize it. This is where we can own the narrative. They can be immersed in our brand and ultimately drive those critical top-of-funnel conversions, which is where SEO AEO comes in. We are the only webinar platform that allows you to host webinars and virtual events directly where your audience should be on your own website. In fact, right now, this live stream is actually happening directly on the futureofmarketingsf.com. We're working with teams like ZoomInfo, 6 Sense, Vercel, and many more. And what they love the most is our proprietary audience insights, which, for the first time ever, we can actually marry audience engagement between our video content as well as our website data. That is really all. We also have an AI repurposing tool, and we wouldn't be talking about the future of marketing if it didn't include how AI can help our team be more efficient. So I am personally really looking forward to the conversations to come, and I will hand it back over to you, Camille. Thank you.
All right. All of that was great. We are going to take a quick break before coming back here for our panel, which has some serious star power on it. I'm really excited to hear from all of these folks. Mada will be moderating. Right now, it is 5:26, so almost 5:30, and we are going to reconvene back here at 5:45. So 15-minute break. Hope you all have fun. Thanks so much.